Marty, popularity is the key to success in politics, the internet, all of these things. Popularity is the key. And popularity, it seems to be the conservatives. Have they lost the key to popularity? Or is this what is going on? These are the numbers that we're seeing from Canada in politics. This is the big switcheroo. Is this just noise, Marty?
No.
No.
I don't know. I've been arguing with people back and forth over who pays for polls and where they come from and so forth. But there's too many of them now. There's too many polls, and there's too, there's a trend being established, and it's not noise. Is it real? Is it threatening? Is it worrisome? Starting to be. But I'm more interested in, is there a potential explanation why the Liberals are regaining the lead? And I think there is. I think it's about threefold. Trudeau's gone. I mean, if you polled somebody 6 months ago, it was basically people in their mind were like, I hate Trudeau. I'm tired of him. So given no other choice, 6 months ago, people going, yeah, I'm going to vote for Pierre. Okay. Now for the last couple of weeks, we have something different. It's not Trudeau anymore. It's the Liberals. And we don't know who it's going to be, but it's the Liberals. So now that Trudeau is gone, when people are asked, who are you going to vote for, Liberals or Conservatives, a lot of people are just going back to their natural instinct of like, okay, well, I'm back to the Liberals. It's not Trudeau anymore. I think there's a truth to that. People are just going back to people. The spread in the past was because people hated Trudeau. And with Trudeau gone, then people are back to their normal instincts, which is most Canadians, we like it or not, are fundamentally, we're progressives. Like, Liberals have been in power in this country for what? 100 years out of the 150 last years kind of thing. So naturally, people tend to select Liberals. It's just what it is. And then people, I think, are genuinely disappointed in Pierre. Like he's all about slogans. I admit it, and we're going to get shit for this, but he had axe the tax, axe the tax, axe the tax. The Liberals took that away from him, right? I mean, Carney and all of them, they took that away from him. And then,
albeit they're like, I think that they're lying. I mean, Carney's
saying
that he's gonna turn it around, he's gonna rebrand it and have some other sort of levy that's gonna harm the economy. Yeah. But for the most part, the messaging sounds like Pierre's messaging. It sounds like they've just taken his platform and they're rolling with that.
Yeah, no, that and then the other thing that the Liberals have going for them is Trump, right? We asked that a couple of weeks ago. Is Trump inadvertently giving the Liberals a bit of an edge? And he is, like, because he's just orange man bad, and Pierre is kind of aligned with Trump. Actually, I won't say kind of. He, like, when you see the videos of Pierre's talking points, he does talk quite a bit like Trump, uses the same terminology. And the Liberals are distancing themselves from Trump, which works for a lot of Canadians, because right now, again, face it, a lot of Canadians right now don't like Trump.
I want to push back on that. I think that Pierre is, while the Liberals are trying to show themselves as more conservative because that's the trend that it's going in.
Yeah,
I think Pierre's playing an old conservative game of convincing Liberals that he's center left. A Canadian sort of conservative, and not really that far conservative or far to the right. Meanwhile, Trump is definitely to the right. He's to the right, and people want that. Like, not everybody wants that. A lot of people in Canada, they're going through their own TDS. Some genuinely have TDS, and others are just mad at Trump because of the whole tariff thing.
But exactly. Yeah. If Trump hadn't done the tariff thing, and we'll come to the tariff, imagine if Trump had just showed up in the US, got elected, did his executive orders, did his Doge, did all of that, and ignored us. That people would actually see Trump in a very different way. For Canadians, he did one bad thing. He proposed tariffs, which, by the way, haven't happened.
They haven't happened.
They haven't happened.
and well, I mean, might as well just get into it. The tariffs, for the most part, Canadians see as an unfair deal, but Canadians have had tariffs on America, tremendous ones, for a long time, for a really, really long time. And yes, of course, the pushback would be the Americans have, softwood lumber tariffs, and they have all these other tariffs. Well, that's capitulation. Well, you can't just get away with everything. They're gonna police some of their stuff, and they're gonna protect some of their industry in their own way. Personally, I'm against tariffs altogether, and a tariff war, the idea would be to get the other side to tear their tariffs down. But Canada's doubling down on this, and it's ridiculous, in my opinion, that they're like, oh, okay, well, you're going to raid, in this tariff war. That, again, he's even said publicly that his strategy was to get rid of tariffs, to get all the other side to back down on their trade barriers.
But it's
not working.
But you saw what he did this morning, right? He announced another delay in the tariffs, right? Because the Canadian tariffs and the Mexican ones were supposed to go into effect March 1st. Now he's pushed it off to April 2nd.
So, but these are two different things, right? So, and I really want to draw a line between the two different things. Trump has his protectionist measures, and those are tariffs. At one point, he said he was going to do 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. This was after the the punitive tariffs, the other tariffs that are blanket 25% on all Canadian goods, all Mexican goods, and those are punitive tariffs for the sake of pressuring the two governments to militarize their borders, essentially.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay.
So a clear line in the sand there. Now, Trump's other strategy when it comes to the tariffs that are longstanding that Canada's had on the United States is a reciprocal game. And he said that instead of doing the 25 and 25 on steel and aluminum, I'm just going to do a reciprocal game, and I want the other countries to lower their trade barriers. Essentially, he says this is the way. If you want to participate with the United States market, if you want to have access to our market, we have to have equal access to yours. And that's, in my personal estimate, I think that's a great thing. But there are a lot of political forces in Canada that just won't have that. Dairy lobby, different other groups that have their punitive or tariff measures, protectionist measures.
I think there's also forces in the U.S. that are acting against Donald right now. Like he's not telling us everything. He never does, right? I mean, but I think he's having pushback against the tariffs for whatever reason. Whether he wanted to for whatever reason he wanted to put him on. Some people said, Donald, that this is the wrong tool. And I think he's delaying them because of that. Because, I mean, not behind the scenes, but if you look at the U.S. economy right now, like the stock market, the U.S. stock market is in like a 10-day slump now, like just losing money. And then I also think there's been some realities that it isn't a trade imbalance. It's a legitimate trade imbalance. You're punishing the wrong people for the wrong reasons. And if you wanted to use tariffs to get us to secure our border, you succeeded. Just say it, and then let's move on. By the way, like our borders, they seem to be worse than ever. Every week now there's a narcotics bust or some incident at the border, or maybe they're better, maybe they're catching the stuff and we're hearing about it finally. But it's been these tariff things. Everybody's celebrating this morning that the tariffs are being delayed. I'm hoping that we celebrate the fact that the tariffs are probably going to be dropped altogether. Whatever he wanted to do with the tariffs, he accomplished. He got us to secure a border. He got us to pay attention to him. He got us to more or less agree to increase our military spending and a few things like that. And then he's pulling back on the tariffs beyond that. So
there's a theory rolling around online that this is another strategy to get Canada to do what he wants. And this is from Mark Nixon. He says, massive news, Trump moving the tariffs to April 2nd just destroyed the Liberals' excuse to delay the election to October 25th.
Totally.
No tariffs, no extraordinary emergency powers. Did Trump just checkmate the Liberals' escape plan? Thought, perhaps. We also have Frank Vaughn saying Trump delayed tariffs to April 2nd, denies the same idea, right? Immediate excuse to withhold elections. Trump now knows that Canada is a CCP cartel triad outpost harboring terrorists of all kinds. America is playing chess. What will Singh, Carney, and Trudeau do now?
Trump definitely did that. I don't think he did it intentionally. I mean, is Trump watching the Liberal leadership, like in the debate last night? Both Freeland and Gould basically said that the looming trade war is valid reason to declare an emergency. They didn't go as far as use the word emergency, but they hinted. Both of those ladies hinted that if elected, the trade war is important enough that we could invoke special measures. Kind of, they're beating around the bush. Absolutely, they want to invoke the emergency measures, because if there's no reason for it, it's going to be hey, like we're the Liberals choose a new leader March 9th, next Sunday. In the 11 days from now, in 10 days from now, we'll have a new leader.
So when they pick Mark Carney, because because there is no other choice, right? I mean, I think a lot of people are rallying to vote for Chrystia Freeland because she would be the worst candidate to go.
There was another choice, but they can't win without cheating, and Carney had the other choice eliminated. That Ruby was. I was going to vote for Ruby. By the way, I can vote, right? I finally succeeded, Clyde. I finally succeeded. Voting in the Liberal leadership is a convoluted, complicated process. I had to prove that I had to get my membership last month, and I had to go to Canada Post, and I had to bring my passport, and then if I didn't keep this piece of paper, I would have been screwed along the way. Every step of the way, you had to follow the instructions so perfectly. And if I threw after I got proved my citizenship, if I threw this piece of paper in the garbage, I wouldn't have been able to vote tomorrow morning. So that happened after we talked, right? So Dolly or Ruby, Dolly or Dalla or whatever, she was
Ruby Dalla.
Yeah, she was disqualified.
She was disqualified for I mean, and it's crazy because I'm trying to find the video now because I didn't have this queued up, but she was disqualified after I have the video here. This is just a perfect explainer. Let's pop this up on the screen because I don't know if you've seen this, but if you haven't, you're just gonna be like, what?
Seems like Ruby Dalla, who we are hoping to have on the show maybe tomorrow, is going to go into that debate on Monday and without the translation, and again on Tuesday.
This is ahead of time,
she
right?
Is going to attack the front runner pretty aggressively. She brings a very interesting, based on what she's doing on social media. That is my impression. What kind of a dynamic does it?
I certainly hope that the party finds a legitimate reason to disqualify her candidacy before the debate.
Really?
I hope so. I think that we've got a serious campaign. Canadians are looking for.
This is not just some nobody.
No,
this is the former chief of staff to the Liberal cabinet ministers, Steve O'Brien. This is crazy, and they're on CTV or CBC News saying let's hope they find a legitimate way to disqualify her. Did they find a legitimate way? Don't think so.
They haven't told us, and in fact, it was so bad what they did to Ruby. They disqualified her, and they leaked her disqualification to the CBC. And the CBC knew she had been disqualified before Ruby knew.
That's Marty. The CBC is
the Liberal Party. Yeah, absolutely. No, unbelievable. And she would have I didn't watch the French debate. I wish I could have watched the French debate, but I was out in the wilderness, so I watched a bit of the English.
You said you would have saw a bunch of, support for Hamas during that one from Liberal.
Actually, the debate that I watched yesterday, it was 11. None of the leaders would challenge each other. It was just like they're not going after each other. In fact, it's explainable because the Liberals are choosing the methodology that the Liberals have chosen to elect their leader is a ranked ballot, right? So a ranked ballot is so I'm going to vote in there tomorrow. So when you get your ranked ballot, you rank the leader, the people, your first choice, second, third, and fourth. And then if tomorrow, if on the first count nobody gets 51% of the vote, then whoever comes in fourth, their vote gets spread out to the other three based on second and third choice votes. So it's very common in a ranked ballot system for a second or third place candidate to win. And it's also very common in a ranked ballot race to see what we saw yesterday, which is 11. Nobody wants to make a mistake on stage, and everybody wants to be likable because they're all trying to. The most important vote in a ranked ballot is actually getting everybody's second place vote. It's just statistically the way it works. So Mark Carney won't win on the first round, but he wants everybody else who chose somebody else to choose him as their second choice. That's what he's going after. So nobody was challenging each other. Ruby would have made it fun because she would have challenged the crap out of all of them.
All of them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Well,
Yeah.
she was saying some based things, and that's where people were like looking at it and actually looking at her as could she possibly be a Canadian Tulsi Gabbard, for example, where
Right.
Tulsi Gabbard was with the Democrats, and then she's flipped. She's gone over to the dream team.
Ruby is a conservative. The way she talks, of course, you said it right. They're all talking like they're all bullshitting, pretending to be conservatives. I would say Ruby is the closest to being a genuine conservative of those people. She's from Winnipeg. She's a doctor. She's or what is she, a chiropractor or something like that. She's a capitalist. She's benefited from. She understands monetary policies and stuff. So she's well, actually, Carney should also be a conservative as far as I'm concerned. But he's got weird ideas. He's got weird ideas.
You go into his book, and the amount of times he quotes Marx, should put red flags all over that guy and why.
But Ruby, I was actually on the space with Ruby, and I got to ask her a question, and I asked her why she's not a conservative. She gave me a bullshit answer. The real answer is she's opportunistic. She saw an opportunity to be the leader of a party, because if she joined the Conservatives tomorrow, she would just be she's just an MP. She's not in line for the leadership of the Conservative.
Right.
Conservatives are going to have a leadership race in about maybe in the. I think I think the Conservatives are going to be 0 for 3, 0 for 4. And the Conservatives are going to lose this election, man. I'm scared of that. I'm absolutely scared of that.
I'm nervous about it too, because here's the thing. So I'm coming from the position of a dual citizen. So I'm an American citizen, Canadian citizen, grew up in Canada. And all I keep hearing these days is how what defines a Canadian is that you're not an American. Well, I'm an American. And I'm not digging all of this anti-American rhetoric. And it seems to be going across the board politically. And it's going a little too extreme. It's going a little too far into, we saw with the booing of and all that, whatever, hockey games. Get excited about your hockey games, your sporting events, whatever. Sure. But it went into some new territory that I'm not comfortable with. And we're seeing it from conservatives that I thought, knew better on these things. And this is why I brought this up today, because this actually came from Larry Brock's Twitter, not Pierre's Twitter. He's saying conservatives will always put Canada first. We stand firm. Canada will never be the 51st state. The same rhetoric that's over and over again. But let's be clear, we'll never be the 51st state. We will bear any burden and pay any price to protect our sovereignty and independence. I don't get this rhetoric, especially the pay any price stuff. It really puts a sour taste in my mouth. I tweeted this out, quote, pushing the pay any price thing, because there is prices that these guys will pay, absolutely, for this. And I point some of it out in my tweet here, where I pointed it out here. Getting rid of the transfer payments. Why is that not on the table? That's not even close to on the table for the pay any price. It's Alberta that's going to pay the price here. Why does Alberta have to pay the price? Why can't Quebec forfeit some of the benefits that they're getting in order to make things better? How about scrapping the dairy lobby? Why isn't that part of the any price? The prosecution of Chinese organized crime. Why are we just letting that go? That's part of the whole like reason why the tariffs are coming in the first place.
It's bad.
It's getting me frustrated.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad platitudes. I mean, like no politician. When a politician says, "I will always put Canadians first," it's like that's the oath you actually take, you moron. Like you're like, and you don't need to emphasize it, and you sure as hell don't need to be hyperbolic. I mean, that Larry.
Well, it sounds like Lord Farquaad from Shrek, right? When he gets in front of the thing and says, some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Don't find the Chrystia Freeland quote where she's like, I've called our allies, especially Denmark and whatever, and we're preparing she's almost saying we're preparing a counterattack. I'm like, a what? Like,
but why?
Oh, she even goes as far as saying, I've contacted our allies who have nuclear weapons like England and France. But they're also America's allies, and there's no war declared. And you guys are, but that's
ludicrous. This is ridiculous. It's drumming, it's pounding the war drums for a war. Like you said, it's not happening. It's not even on. And they're doing it just for their political situation in the moment.
Never let a good crisis go to waste, Clyde. Never let a good crisis go to waste. That's what they're doing.
It's so cynical and it's gross. It's disgusting, and I don't want nothing to do with it, because I've got my fellow countrymen coming and looking at me like I've got people calling me a traitor just for being American in this time. It's just unbelievable that this is the case. This is the place that we're in, and this is all for political clout. But like I said, why are we not putting these other things on the table? I would like to see some real seriousness. If there is a chance that Alberta will come away from this so scorned that they're like, no, I want to make a deal with Trump and I want to leave the country. Where are you then? Where are you then when you wouldn't put, transfer payments on the table as one of the, resorts to fixing the Canadian issue?
I've been tweeting about that for a long time. I mean, we are currently going through a period right now where the rest of Canada is saying to us, Alberta, you should cut your oil to the US. Basically, that's what they're saying. You should cut your oil to the US and threaten the Americans and show them who's boss. I'm like, sounds great, but now you've opened the door because I will do that to you as well. I'd love to turn off the oil to the Americans and give them a rude awakening. And then I'd love to turn around and turn off the oil to Eastern Canada and give them a rude awakening.
But who's telling Ontario shut off the car parts going to Michigan and Ohio? Like, that's not happening. Nobody's asking them to do that. Nobody's asking.
They're on Team Canada. We're not on Team Canada. They're on Team Canada. So we're the ones who have to take the hit.
But this is driving the country even further apart, and it's this rhetoric that's doing it, and that's crappy. If you really want Canada to stay together, get off of this shelf. Like, get off of this entirely.
So what we would need right now is a mature politician somewhere who comes along. This is right for somebody to do this, to come along and say, I'm not going to play this game. But nobody's stepping up. A month ago, everybody was all gaga over Danielle Smith for stepping up. She's not stepping up right now. Ford's not stepping up. Poilievre's not stepping up. Max Bernier's not stepping up. Nobody's stepping up. Everybody's doing their own little thing. They're listening to Trump. Trump must just be laughing his head off. Must be. If I was Trump, I'd be laughing. Elon Musk is laughing his head off. Elon is like, look at what you made him do, Trump. They're literally, we're so distracted. We're so messed up, Clyde. What did we do this week while I was gone? We're circulating a petition to revoke Elon Musk's citizenship. One of the most successful human beings on the planet. Any country should be proud to have Elon Musk. But we're accusing Elon Musk of interfering in our election, and we want his citizenship revoked. Oh my God, is it up to 263,000 people who signed that? Oh,
This is
I'm
ridiculous.
embarrassed.
What's
I'm
wrong?
embarrassed. I'm
It's so
embarrassed.
embarrassing. It's so
I'm embarrassed.
embarrassing. And
I'm
it's like,
embarrassed.
what? So anybody who goes against the political will of the regime in power, the government at the moment, they're ousted. Like, what was it? Justin Trudeau. He was the guy who said a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. You can't have anything taken from you, even if you are currently plotting acts of terror against the country and the citizens of Canada. But oh no, we're gonna throw that all out the window.
He was extremely specific about that. He was very specific. Yeah. Canadian's a Canadian. I mean, that's yeah. Think of the people whose citizenship I'd love to revoke right now. You know, there's 11 of them that are traitors apparently in the report, and some of them are elected. I'd love to revoke their citizenship, whoever they are. Mark Carney. Actually, there's a
petition. There's an equal petition out for him right now. I don't know what the count's at, but it was a tit for tat thing, because Mark Carney's a global internationalist, I guess you would call it. And
hey, I brought up something interesting, like in this whole fiasco of me trying to register as a liberal. You know, they make you sign your life away and you read all the fine print, right? I swear that I'm a citizen of Canada. That's step one. Then I also had to check off the box saying I've been living in Canada at least 183 days last year. I don't think Carney qualifies. I don't think Carney's been here 183 days. They found a reason to disqualify Ruby, apparently, because she used, she was too successful at raising money. But Carney, yeah, he does. He has 3 citizenship. He lives in New York. He hasn't been here in 183 days. And what did we find out yesterday? He basically did some insider trading, and he got Brookfield Assets to move their head office from Toronto to New York in November 2024. Like, God.
So he's out outsourcing his businesses, right? Yeah. All of the stuff that is he not going to be Team Canada and boycott his own business? It's so hypocritical. It's insane. And my wife was at the grocery store today, and she said, "Yo, they got these buy Canadian. This is a Canadian product stuff on all this stuff." But guess what? Guess what? It's not on, Marty.
I don't know.
All your produce.
Oh yeah.
You think we're growing any of that stuff here in the middle of winter, Marty? No, we get all our stuff from California and southern states. You know, Mexico. All those Mexico, and that's it. We get our stuff from outside. We gotta people need to realize international trade is an important thing, and this is why we don't come to the table with threats of boycotting America, especially a tiny little economy like ours. It's just it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and call it for what it is. It's a political move from these actors in the Canadian political game right now. And they're willing to put everybody's jobs at risk. And mark my words, if people lose their jobs, it's not Donald Trump's fault. It's all these politicians that are blowhards, and they're trying to impress everybody to win their elections, whether it's Ontario's provincial election or it's the federal election or a party election.
Yeah, but the thing that disappoints me is that you and I and hundreds like you and I have been talking for 3 years, pointing out all the flaws, pointing out all the bullshit, pointing out all the ways that the liberals have hurt us, and all the hypocrisy. And some days I feel like it's for vain, because it's for nothing, because what's going to happen? Like people, I don't understand why people have short memories like they do. I am at a complete loss to explain why somebody would vote liberal now. Because you're afraid of Donald Trump? That's insane. That's insane, right? And you're going to vote for the liberals because Pierre Poilievre only has slogans and isn't as personable. I don't get it. People are going to vote for the liberals and ignore the fact that housing is unaffordable, inflation is out of control, immigration is out of control, our productivity is down, our GDP per capita is down, our crime rates are up, there's an opioid epidemic in every town, we're living in tents, not everything is broken, and yeah, and people are still going to vote for more of that. It's
But the thing
insane.
is, so everything's broken, and we're being told, like Pierre Poilievre has been calling that out for a long time, but there's no clear and concise, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the legal apparatus to actually start doing something.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard that.
Well, actually,
we're finding out because people like Sam Cooper are doing such a bang up job, and he's been pointing out that we're basically the beachhead for China in North America, and that's what they've been doing. Where's our political class to mention this?
Well, and you're making me think of something really key here. You know, that Pierre was saying, like, up until a few months ago, everything's broken, right? And then the liberal counter to that was nothing's broken. Like, I can't, like I heard the liberals say nothing's broken so many times in the last 6 months, and now what are the liberals saying?
Everything's broken.
Like, it's like suddenly, wow,
but
Trump got elected, so now everything's broken.
Okay. They won't articulate what's actually broken, though, which is crazy. Because like we have Donald Trump breathing down our necks. And why is it? Do you think it's because of, you know, trade imbalance? Because he wants to do the trade imbalance stuff across the board with every country he deals with. That's what he does. He does trade negotiations. He does negotiations, deals. He wrote The Art of the Deal, right? But you can tell he really wants to put American influence in Canada where right now it's Chinese influence. And not only that, our system's corrupt. It's so bad that, and I got to show you this clip because Jason James had Sam Cooper on his podcast just the other day. And this clip is amazing because it really sums up just how corrupt it's become in Canada and how just like open they basically are about it. Here's the clip here.
If there was a real commission to get to the bottom of fentanyl and money laundering, it even came up in the Hogue Commission, again, in the most minimized, you know, basically whitewashed way. They talked about the RCMP for some reason not pursuing a money laundering case involving Chinese actors that were believed to be involved in Chinese state activities. And the excuse given by the RCMP, it came out in testimony, even though they didn't get to the bottom of anything, you know, in the commission. The excuse was, well, the RCMP said, well, there's so many money laundering operations, they didn't see value in going after this one.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's unreal.
You know what I said today? Actually, this is depressing now, but I said today online that 2025 might be the year where I get blackpilled. And I hate to say,
I'm trying really hard not to.
You and I are trying not to, but
yeah.
They're like, when I hear these kinds of stories with Sam, when I see what's happening, when like I might give up after if we don't have an election, and if the liberals get reelected and the traitors aren't guilty and nobody pays any price other than a couple of Coots people. Like, to me, the real criminals are the politicians and the senior bureaucrats, and they're just walking away scot-free, and we're giving them a pass. We're reelecting them. We're like, if this could be the year for me where I finally say, okay, I live in the matrix. I might as well. I've accepted the black pill. Give me the red one now, so that I can go back to enjoying my steak. Like
the blue pill
or the blue pill. Yeah.
You want to go back down the rabbit hole. So that's holy cow!
When those kinds of stories come out like that, like Sam, that just annoys me. That just absolutely annoys me. Absolutely.
Well, how do you come to grips with that it's happening? So, and at the same time, simultaneously, we're looking at what's happening in America, and this is doubly getting me frustrated with the people that are mad at Trump. It's like, look at the good he's doing down there. Doge is like totally dismantling their corrupt state apparatus every single day. They're finally, it took a month, but now they have their whole cabinet. Their cabinet is confirmed, and they're going to work. They're going to work. Kash Patel was like the last one to be confirmed in there. And you know who his deputy is going to be? Dan Bongino. Like, it's unbelievable some of the names that are in there.
Yeah,
It's going to be
Dan, like yeah, Dan. Okay, I know Dan.
Dan Bongino. Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Fox News. He's got his own show on Rumble. He's now going to be the deputy, and they've put together the FBI and the ATF now. So, I mean, you couldn't want a better gun rights crew than what they've got there. And this is encouraging, and this is what I love to see. I'm loving what I'm seeing on that side of the border. But like, my American side is like, I want to jump for joy. It's amazing. But my Canadian side of me is like, what in the hell? Why aren't we doing it too? And why isn't the Conservatives promising this stuff?
In Canada, it's too little, too late. I mean, did you see? You probably don't have the story queued up, but you saw what happened here yesterday in Alberta. An MLA, the minister of infrastructure, resigned yesterday in Alberta. He's one MP or MLA out of 87, and he's like, I can't do this. He's believing, he saw the corruption. He's seeing the people. He's seeing Danielle's government trying to hide the bad contracts, and like, you know, the old excuse, the old story, right? When there's smoke, there's fire. Like, if 14 journalists start saying, hey, you know, Alberta Health has issued some bad contracts, and there's something's going on, and then an MLA quits, you know, there's real, you know that's real smoke. This guy quit yesterday, and it's going to be for nothing. He's sacrificing himself, and he's sacrificing his career. It's going to be for nothing, because we don't have. Actually, that's, you know, to what you said. It does prove just how crazy Trump is, how game-changing, convicted, strong in his beliefs Trump is. And it takes a special guy like Trump and Javier Milei, and we don't have one of those. There's no Trump or Javier Milei. We talked about it. It isn't Kevin O'Leary. It isn't nobody like that. Those people, that's not a Canadian virtue. We are not that kind of determined people.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
It's not Max Bernier. It's not Pierre Poilievre. At this point, we just hope that some of what Donald's doing rubs off on us. But right now, what's frustrating to me is that what some of the things he's doing, if he wasn't doing tariffs, yes, I'll go back to that. If Trump was doing what he's doing and not doing the tariffs, we would all just keep looking at Trump and going, hey, look at what he's doing. We should do the same thing. But right now, he's temporarily clouded the political picture here in Canada by doing these damn tariffs.
I hope he sixes his intel agencies after Canadian corruption. I really just hope something happens there. But, you know, there is you know, a sense of determination, I guess you would call this, in Canada. It's kind of fueled in the wrong places usually. This is what we've seen of it recently. Completely determined to give all our money to a foreign war.
I am announcing Canada will be providing 25 more LAV-3 infantry fighting vehicles to Ukraine. We will be delivering 2 armored combat support vehicles, which Ukrainian forces will be trained on shortly in Germany. Landing systems for F-16s were delivered just 2 months ago, and 4 F-16 flight simulators will be provided in the coming months. And that's on top of the millions of additional rounds of ammunition, components. That's why I am
all of this stuff going to you. It ain't happening now. It ain't happening. Sorry, pal, but you can't give all our tax dollars away anymore.
Why are we even giving F-16 simulators? We don't even have F-16s.
I don't know.
Like, did we just go buy them at auction and we're like, here, you can have these? The LAV-3s we're giving them, the Buffaloes, my God, like, they're all beat up. Like, the Ukrainians are probably laughing, going, no, keep your junk. Just keep your junk. Don't worry about it. Keep your junk. Like,
well, it was the same deal with, like, we're going to confiscate people's hunting rifles, mixed bag, and send them to the front lines of a war zone. Yeah. It's just ludicrous. But here's the deal. Thanks again to Donald Trump, we don't have to deal with this anymore. This is not going to be a thing moving forward where we have a, you know, unilateral, like, it's everybody in everyone in the political sphere in Canada that has a seat was pushing for this anyway. There was no way out except through Donald Trump. Thank you very much, Mr. President. But yeah, here it is. Here it is from
Yep.
Salty Goat saying peace deal reached between Russia and Ukraine, and Zelensky is flying to the US to sign the deal made by President Trump. Details. The United States gets 50% of the revenue from Ukraine's mineral wealth as repayment for the money that they spent on the war. You know what? Canada gets sweet FA for all of the effort that we've put into it. Nothing. No, they're not going to have a membership in NATO, and Ukraine is going to concede the territory that they lost to the Russians in the conflict. Yeah, liberals, go ahead and start your crying, but this it's over. It's over, and I couldn't be happier. I have no loyalties to Ukraine. I'm sorry. I have no loyalties to Russia either. I mean, it's all nothing to do with me and nothing to do with anybody I know.
And in that part of the world, it sounds bad that, you know, some territories moved and the borders move, but in that part of the world, borders move every 20 years. And I don't think people really care about borders anymore. Like people don't associate with the borders. They associate with the culture, and this is my mom's farm, and that's all I care about. So yeah, no, I'm glad he did that. He said he would. I mean, it took him shame on you, Trump. It took you 3 weeks. You said you were going to do it in like 3 days, but yeah, you got it done.
Got it done.
Yeah,
I like this one. This one was Zachary on Twitter, because all those maps were going on. Remember, so the map, it was America, and then it said not America,
not Canada or not America. Yeah,
not America. This one really was great. Russia, not Canada. Also not Canada. Nope, not our concern. Here's all of it's not Canada. So why should we bother? So Zachary, thanks for posting that one. I like that one a lot. That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
We used to take shit for not. I remember 2 years ago, if you didn't say you were 100% for Ukraine, people would give you shit. Like, how could you not be for Ukraine? But now, in the last year, it's hard to care about another place, even like Ukraine, when we're not even taking care of our own people here. So yeah, not a lot of. I'm glad it's over. I'm just glad it's over, and hopefully we move on. What's left then for wars? Donald's got Gaza pretty much done. He had a bad press release today, right? That video, that AI video that circulated, it wasn't Donald's doing. Did you see that one?
I briefly passed over. I didn't actually watch it. No, it was
kind of like a Disney video of like what Gaza's going to look like. They're going to call it like Trump Gaza kind of thing, and people are like saying that was Trump. No. Trump did not create a promotional video for Trump Gaza. Come on, folks. Like, give your heads a shake. It's somebody else who did that.
Yeah. People are just saying all kinds of crazy stuff these days. I mean, this one cracked me up that I saw earlier today. This is Jagmeet Singh saying more crazy stuff.
He's still around. I haven't heard from old Jagmeet in a while.
Apparently, and now he wants to ban Donald Trump from the G7 summit that's going to be happening in Canada coming up.
He's not coming anyways, Trump.
Like, ban Donald Trump from attending the G7 summit. Donald Trump should not be welcome here. Why would we invite someone who has threatened our very democracy, our very sovereignty? Why would we invite someone who has threatened our economic well-being?
This is the guy who helped destroy our sovereignty and our economic well-being.
He's an idiot, right? Like,
he can't go to India because he's
bingo. Bingo.
There you go.
Bingo.
The irony is never lost on these guys. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, like Donald, everybody's mad at Donald. I've been mad, and Donald is less of a threat to me as an Albertan. Donald is less of a threat to me than Ottawa is. So
yeah,
like if I met Jagmeet face to face, that's what I would say to him. I'm like, you're a freaking hypocrite, man. Like, the threat to me as a Canadian is not Donald Trump. The threat is you, Jagmeet Singh, supporting crazy policies and propping the Liberals who have been threatening us forever. God. I mean, yeah, if I can repeat what Singh just said and paraphrase it, I would say you shouldn't be allowed in the House of Commons, dude, because you're a threat to Canadians.
So this was some of the sentiment that I got today, because I was pushing back hard on this. And one of the things that was said was, you know, I don't want to lose my core identity as a Canadian. That's something, and I appreciate that. I actually really do appreciate that. And I don't think that, you know, even if Canada had a deal with the United States, which it's not going to be a 51st state thing, but even if the Canada became more economically connected with the United States, like what I think is inevitably going to happen, because the US isn't going to just allow China to beachhead and steamroll into the country. It's not going to happen, not under Trump especially. But I do understand the people concerned about their loss of their identity, which I think is safe and sound under the Americans. But so I put this out there. I said, who is the bigger risk to the loss of the Canadian identity? The United States of America or the Canadian government? And it's unanimous, man. It's unanimous. We got 6,000 votes here. And you might say like, oh, I'm polling a biased audience. Actually, I've had so much pushback on me about this, like Team Canada, 51st state stuff, a ton of pushback. But when you question an audience that has been really split on this, they're unanimously in agreement that it's actually the Canadian government that's the biggest purveyor of risk to the core identity of the average Canadian.
We're already past that. I mean, I still think of myself as a Canadian, but I was somewhere recently where we were talking about that very topic, and most of the people that were there could not define what being a Canadian is. So mission accomplished. Like this, we are a post-national state. If you put 20 people in a room that are Canadian, you say, what are your core values? We have nothing in common. There's that the core values are gone that we used to share. So your poll is reflecting that 100%. We're not like Americans can still do it. Americans can still define themselves. You're right. I mean, what's left for us? We're not American. That's become the last Canadian value, is that we're not American, which is, it's pretty sad that we're at that point. I mean, when I was younger, I remember what being Canadian meant. Canadian meant being able we had a harder lifestyle than the Americans because our climate was tougher. We were closer to nature. We had less people. We were more rural than urban. We had some, you know, we had hockey. We had different sports. We had a different culture. We were constantly apologetic. We were polite, and like, dude, don't quote me exactly, but 27% of Canadians, 27% of the people living in Canada right now were not born here. So that core identity, within one generation, it'll be 40 to 50% of the people born here living here won't have been born here. So the core Canadians being diluted pretty heavily.
Yeah, and emigration is at an all-time high as well. The amount of people, the amount of Canadians leaving the country for good. Like that's it's happening. It's absolutely happening. But
I don't want Jagmeet Singh at the G7. That's for sure. I don't want Jagmeet at the G7. And speaking of the G7, they could cancel that whole thing. I really don't care. Like, they're talking about Trump will be here. He's going to come. And but what a weird statement, Jagmeet. I mean, like, have you ever stood up, Jagmeet, and said the same thing about, let's say, like, we've had other people that I think have been more threatening than Trump to us, and we still invite him here. By the way, Jagmeet, the Liberals invited a Nazi to the House of Commons. So I mean, did you speak out against that? Like, you know,
I think he was clapping in attendance.
Yeah, I think he was clapping. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he was there for that. But talking about avoiding things, you know.
Oh.
Well, and here's the thing. So we've been hearing about all kinds of aircraft incidents in recent time, and it's good to see someone who's actually doing their job. Like, totally. And I think you said it right. I'll let you articulate on this one more. But let's just show the clip, because this is onto this one now. So this was this morning in Chicago. How many lives, including his own, did the pilot save? This is an astonishing scene. at the airport. As he pulls right back up because they were taxiing another plane across the thing.
Yeah, and
That's
so
insane.
it's not. I just posted it there, but I chatted with somebody subsequent to that. Somebody said that guy deserves a medal, and I said it's an interesting thought, but no, he's just a competent pilot who did his job, unlike the ones who landed in Toronto last week, right? So this is a competent person. So a competent person should be applauded, but they don't deserve a medal for doing their job. On the other hand, either the guy who's driving the other plane who decided to go across the runway, or the controller that told them, now that person needs to be reprimanded. So I'm not, I mean, I'd like to congratulate the pilot, but I'd much prefer to reprimand people who did a bad job in this situation. So somebody there screwed up. It's hey, catastrophe avoided though. Can you imagine if that plane just slammed into that? Like that's catastrophic, man.
That is catastrophic. That's
yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. And then we'd be reporting on a completely different.
Still better than flipping upside down, right? We're getting to the bottom of that last week, right? I guess it was not entirely a DEI crew, but somebody was less than qualified, which you're allowed to be, right? We've talked about this. I mean, that's why there's 2 people in a plane or 2 bus drivers, or you have to learn on the job sometimes. So when you're learning, shit can happen. But yeah, maybe that person was a little bit too inexperienced to be in the right seat at that time. I don't know. We'll find. Yeah.
That's why we have flight simulators. I mean, you can get it on your computer these days.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, but no, I just don't see it as acceptable. Landing a plane needs to happen the right way, just like walking your dog, right? You got to be responsible with that. I'm just going through the clips.
We're trying to end on a humorous note here.
I want to end on something fun.
Clyde said it earlier. He what did you say before we started? You were a little frustrated with you're frustrated with the internet and life in general. So am I. Like I don't want.
My life's great. I mean, I would love to be moved on, and we're still in limbo personally as a family, but like, I love my wife. My kids are fantastic. All of that stuff is great. Just this country is imploding, and I'm sad to see that. But
actually, before you show that video, let's get a bit positive.
Mm-hmm.
We are 11 days away from the Liberals electing a new leader. I think the Liberals they're cheating and they're going to elect Carney. That's fine. Go for it. Do what you want. I think Pierre is still somewhat okay in not going on the total offensive at this point. Ignore the polls because there is no election. So he's right to ignore the polls. Let the Liberals are going to elect Carney. Carney's going to be a clown who can't sit in the House of Commons because he doesn't have his seat. So he's going to be in the peanut gallery. So he's going to be completely ineffective. And I hope that Carney believes himself the polls and does something really silly, like say, let's go and have a snap election. I hope he does it. And then if we have a snap election, you and me and all of us in the private media, we're going to go hard on the offensive, and we're going to spend 3 weeks reminding Canadians why they should not vote for Trudeau or for Carney or for the Liberals. We will, now's not the time to completely remind everybody of how bad the Liberals have been. But once they declare that election, you and I I'm going to be 100% focused on reminding everybody the Liberals got us into a world of shit, and they cannot be trusted to get us out of this shit. And Trump is just a distraction, folks. Don't worry about Trump. He's not our enemy.
But I want to hear some good rhetoric out of Pierre Poilievre. Totally. I want to hear him on the offensive too, because I don't want him just reacting to everything as he does currently. That would be nice to see.
Yeah. So we're not in an election campaign. We got another 2 weeks to go. So let's all chill, folks. Everything's good. We don't need to. But finish off this segment with that poor dog. My God.
All right, let's get on to that one. So this is what you don't do when you're walking your dog in a national park. Don't let it go after the wildlife, or you'll end up in a situation like this.
What are you doing, you morons? No. The dog's gone by the ear? God damn. Like, you're gonna get kicked in the face, man. Oh my gosh, she's gonna get gored.
Oh, she's yeah.
If it was my daughter. Oh,
She's so close to getting kicked there. That's
Then bystanders are getting hurt and whatever. Did she like the video ends before we ever know if she gets the dog or not? Like,
she's like a dog's favorite.
and the dog could get totally injured in this
Oh.
scenario. Okay, so it's
it's a
over
bad
there.
scenario. The dog could get injured, the lady could get injured, the deer could get injured, the bystanders, everybody could get injured. Like and it's a $25,000 fine for harassing wildlife in international park. So I think that qualifies, and it's an additional $25,000 fine for having a dog off leash. So that lady could easily get herself with a $50,000 fine. And somebody told me online, they're like, that makes no sense because it'd be worse punishment than we give to criminals. It's like this is Canada, folks. Like if you have a dog that attacks a deer,
I'm not going there. I'm not going there because we're on a positive note, Marty. I'm not going there. Let's end this one on a positive note as well. Here now for the live audience, stick around because we're going to be doing the Q&A. If you haven't tuned into the live version of this and you're watching this on Thursday morning or afterwards, check this out live, or if you're a member of the channel, you can watch the live version at your own leisure. It's still up for everybody there. But tomorrow night for all the live viewers, and tonight for everybody watching, I'm going to be doing another show live. I'm going to be having Rupa Subramanya on the show. We're going to be talking about a lot of these issues with the Conservatives, the Trump, the Liberals, all the things happening here in Canada. There's a publication that just came out from her, and it's gonna be a really good chat. So tune into that. That's coming up. But Marty, where can people find you?
Marty Up North on Twitter and Marty Up North on YouTube. But yeah, come find me on Twitter, folks. You know, most of the people here follow me already, I hope. So yeah.